I'll just tell you, I remember when we first had our interview, I'll never forget this. You were like, yeah, I commuted. And I was like, wait a second. So you drove from Anderson, South Carolina to Atlanta, Georgia. How many days a week? Did you do it 5?
5 days a week.
It was 5? How long is the drive from Anderson to Atlanta?
My class is at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
During rush hour traffic.
Right,
okay?
right.
So one way there in the morning, I left my house maybe at 4:30. Every morning.
Yeah.
So then in the evenings, because I'm a 1L, you don't get your first pick of the class times.
Right.
Last class over at 5 o'clock. So I'm in 5 o'clock traffic now.
So the typical day for Rasheda Robinson in law school was leaving the house around 4:30 in the morning, getting home around 8 o'clock at night.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the Prachtical Law Podcast. Prachtical Law Podcast is designed to provide legal insights to practitioners and the public at large so that we can develop strategies about how to better serve the public and our clients in the legal space. Today, I'm fortunate to have Rasheda Robinson here, who's the managing attorney of Pracht Injury Law. I've known Rasheda for years, have had a wonderful professional and personal relationship with her since I first met her. And so I'm really excited to have her here and to talk to her about all things related to personal injury law and her background as an Andersonian and great trial lawyer. So Rasheda, thank you for joining us.
Hi guys, thanks for having me today. I'm so happy to be here, Chris.
Yes,
thank you.
Absolutely. So we're gonna have a neat conversation today.
All right, let's do it.
I want to start by I'm gonna let you tell everybody who you are, but I want to just say a few things about you first, if that's all right.
Sure, help yourself.
You know, Rasheda, you came to me, how many years has it been now?
Almost 4.
Yeah, almost 4. It's really been almost 4 years.
It's been almost 4 years.
That's
I can't
crazy.
believe it.
I remember, like yesterday, when I first got your resume on my desk. And, you know, Nancy Joe, my old law partner, brought it to me and said, you know, this young lady's working up in the public defender's office. I read her resume, and it looks really impressive. I think you ought to give her a call. And when I read your resume, I was blown away. Tell us a little bit about you. I want to talk more how you came to the law. Okay. But tell us a little bit more about you. I mean, I know you're from Anderson. I know you're a local girl, but tell me about your background.
So, born and raised here in Anderson, went to Westside High School. And then when I graduated, I actually went off to Carolina, majored in political science. The goal was always to become a lawyer and to go to law school. But I ended up getting married, having kids after I graduated from undergrad. You know, I'm working this job as a sales analyst. I start the e-commerce business, first of all, with another lady over at Orient, doing wonderful, making great money. But every day at the end of the day, I did not feel fulfilled. And it was simply because I felt like I wasn't doing what I had been called to do. I wasn't living my dream, which was being an attorney and helping people.
So you graduate from Carolina.
Yes.
Poli-sci major.
Yep.
Why didn't you just take the LSAT and go to law school?
So I'll be honest with you. Growing up with a single mom, I had some things that I really needed to work on personally to develop. I really needed to make peace with certain things in my past in terms of like my upbringing and certain relationships that I needed to really mend. Those things ultimately helped me become the version of who I am today, honestly. So
if I'm hearing you right, and you tell me if I'm mischaracterizing this, life got in the way right after college, right? Real world stuff
Absolutely.
We have to deal with every day.
Yes.
Just it wasn't the time.
It wasn't the time. And I'll be honest with you, if I had gone to law school then when I graduated from Carolina, right, I don't think I would have been successful at that point. And
it's funny, I have moments in my life where I feel like that too. It's like, I'm glad it didn't work out because in retrospect, it wasn't meant to be at that time.
Correct.
That deal. But bring us through this. So what did you do right after you get your poli-sci degree? What was your first job out of college?
So my first job was actually in marketing at TTI. Loved it. It was great. But they actually were doing away with a partner company that I was working for.
Yeah.
So I ended up then being hired at Orient Rugs. Started out as an administrative assistant for the sales department, actually. And it was great. Loved it. Then I started their e-commerce business alongside this other young lady, and we saved the company like thousands of dollars every year creating these analytic reports and stuff.
So help me out, because I mean, I'm a rookie at this whole e-commerce thing. Okay, I'm sorry. So were you like drop shipping the rugs from Orient, or were y'all just kind of developing like how y'all can sell the Orient rugs online? I mean, what was it?
Unique story. So we actually learned and taught ourselves how to put our products on their online website for selling. And we connected it with their shipping department and everything, so that whenever they would order it, it would come in, and we had to make sure colors were right, search engines were right. We created mass spreadsheets like that would track the quantities, that would track the colors, any sort of trigger words that people would search for. We literally launched the entire e-commerce business.
Got it. Well, it sounds like you were good at that.
I was, and I liked it. What I learned from working there though is like I got to interact like with the salespeople from big box companies like Lowe's, Home Depot, Target. So I would go to like these different showcases, especially at High Point in Vegas, and I would be there, and they would ask specifically for me, even though I was just a sales analyst. But they came looking for me because I'm the one that kind of started the whole thing in the background, and I'm the one they were interacting with regularly.
So how many years, months or years were you doing that e-commerce deal with Orion?
Probably about 4 years, because I started out just as an administrative assistant for one of the sales managers there.
It sounds like, now you correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like it was a pretty good job. I mean, it sounds like you were moving up, like you were liked there, you were good at it.
I was good at my job, and I made great money. The problem was I was not self-fulfilled. There were these periods that I would go through, and it's kind of like getting a spanking for something that seriously, like it's kind of like getting a spanking for something that that you should not have done. And I was getting an emotional spanking, I felt like, every single day, because I knew that I was supposed to go to law school and be an attorney. And so I always wrestled with what if I just did it? What if I had done it? What would my life look like? And so one day, I'll never forget, I was talking to my husband on the phone again about the umpteenth time about I had not gone to law school yet. And he says, just apply. Let's just see what happens.
Sure.
Okay. 2 weeks later, I got an acceptance email. So, I have 5 kids. I have a job. We have bills. We have real life. I'm married. And so I'm like, how is this all going to work? Like, I'm literally like, I have no clue how this is going to work out for me. Okay. Sure. But I got so tired of that emotional spanking that my husband one day said, apply, just see what happens.
And so quick acceptance. And that was it from John Marshall, right?
That is correct, in Atlanta. Atlanta. Called him and I said, I just got accepted into law school. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right. I was like, well, what are we going to do about the bills? Because that's a real thing. when you've created a family and this life, you build your life.
And everything else.
Correct. You build your life based upon the money that you make. So obviously, if I quit my job, we're going to be down a salary. But I'm going to tell you, things work when it's something that you're supposed to do and it's you walking in your purpose, all of the cards just fall. That's awesome. And when I say they fall, I mean they fall. He was like, all right, we're going to figure this out. He was like, I'll take on this bill, that bill, and this. Can you drive back and forth every day to school? Because we had the kids. So not have
an apartment down there, set up a whole nother life
in
Atlanta. Right?
Correct. Yeah. And the other thing, too, is being a mom is probably one of my favorite roles that I play in everyday life. So I knew for me, I did not want to uproot my children to Atlanta for 3 years to move them back.
Right. Because you felt like Anderson or South Carolina was where you wanted to.
Absolutely. And this is where my village is. So if I needed help with my kids, the people are here to do it. They're not down there in Atlanta. And then on top of that, my husband had actually fell into his dream job. So I could not ask him to sacrifice what he loved for mine. Like the goal was for us to be both whole, not taken from the other to get what we want.
I want to do one thing.
Sure.
Real quick. I want you to talk about your husband. He's a great guy. I love him.
He's
and
amazing.
I think, this is a good time as we're talking about this. Just tell me about him as a man and what he's done. Obviously a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But tell me, just tell us a little bit about Danny.
Danny is phenomenal. I'll be honest with you. Everybody needs a Danny, but not my Danny. Okay? Get your own Danny. But he is phenomenal. Heart of gold, loves hard, great provider, takes care of his family, his kids. I mean, he'll go to war with Jesus himself about those kids. I'm just telling you, he's a great dad. But we actually started out as best friends.
Really?
Yes, we did. I actually was dating other people.
Yeah.
So was he, by the way. And we would talk about it while I was in college at Carolina, actually. Best friends. So he worked third shift at the time. And when I would come home, he would hang out. We'd go get food or whatever before I go back to school. But then when I graduated from college, he told me, he was like, I think you're my person.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
And so we've been inseparable since.
Yeah.
Around May. Okay.
And y'all really are. Like, I mean, just as having worked with you now for 4 years and seeing y'all's relationship, it's really special.
Yes.
Y'all
And
have a
he's
very cool dynamic.
so supportive. So supportive.
Yeah.
Like when I got into law school, he was like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Just do it. And I have no idea how he figured it out, but he did.
I'll just tell you, I remember when we first had our interview and you told me, never forget this. You were like, yeah, I commuted. And I was like, wait a second. So you drove from Anderson, South Carolina to Atlanta, Georgia. And Jordan Marshall's like downtown Atlanta, right? I mean,
it's
not
in Midtown,
This is not like an Alpharetta. I mean, you got to go all the way in.
Oh, yeah. In traffic.
In traffic. And you did that both ways, there and back. How long is the drive from Anderson to Atlanta?
Okay, so on a normal day with no traffic, okay, we're talking maybe 2 hours, okay?
Right.
The problem is Atlanta is so congested and you're talking, it's my 1L year.
Right.
So my class is at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
During rush hour traffic.
Right,
okay.
right.
So literally I'm in the car and don't let there be an accident because then it's even worse. Okay. So one way there in the morning, I left my house maybe at 4:30. Wow. Every morning.
Yeah. Just to give yourself a cushion.
Yes, because I needed that extra hour to build in so that I could get to class on time. Because I'm sure, as you know, Christopher, your law professors don't exactly like you coming into class late.
They do not. It's not a good way to get the grades you need to.
Absolutely. So then in the evenings, because I'm a 1L, you don't get your first pick of the class times.
Right.
Last class over at 5 o'clock. So I'm in 5 o'clock traffic now. And I'm driving and it's between 2 to 4 hours to get home.
So the typical day for Rasheda Robinson in law school was leaving the house around 4:30 in the morning, getting home around 8 o'clock at night.
Somewhere in there, yeah. This is the thing. This was the deal that I made with my husband. He said, if you're going to go, you're going to go full time. The goal is to get in and get out because we're losing a salary in terms of finances in our home. So the sooner you graduate, the sooner you can
get this done.
Yes, and we get a job and we can get back to our life.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah. When I was interviewing you, I think this was the moment. There was a lot of other good things, but this was when I was like, if this woman has the absolute dedication to becoming a lawyer that she's willing to drive from Anderson, South Carolina to Atlanta, Georgia, and back 5 days a week for 2.5 years, then she has more grit than I'll ever know. And she is what I want, the kind of person I want to work with. I mean, literally, and I don't mean to be so simplistic, but like that just speaks volumes about your determination because I just don't think, honestly, I could do that. I think I would drive off a bridge or something.
I'll be honest with you.
That must have been hard.
Looking back at it now, absolutely absurdity. Okay.
Yeah.
I will be honest with you about that. In the moment of me doing it, I love the idea of chasing what I wanted more.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Sure.
Like, I was like, I would rather know that this isn't for me than to continue wondering if it is.
I get it.
And so when I did it, literally, I would read all of my, like everything that I needed to read for the upcoming week. I read it over the weekends.
Right.
Everything. I prepped all my briefs. I literally studied on the weekends. That way, during the week when I was commuting this 4 to 6 hours a day, when I get home at night, that's what I'm doing. When I get home at night, it's shower, kiss the kids, eat dinner, go to bed. So remember I was telling you about how when you're walking in your purpose, things just fall into place?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So there's a neighbor that stayed to the left of us, okay? Right. And single dad,
right,
had a son that actually goes to school with my older kids, okay?
Right.
And I was taking my kids to school every day before I went to law school because I could. You know, I told you I enjoy being a mom.
Sure.
One day he comes over to bring a box of oranges to the kids because he's just a nice guy.
I got you.
And so my husband tells him, yeah, Sheeta's about to go to law school in 2 weeks. And he's like, what? And he said, yeah, I got, my older kids are going to put the little one on the bus. Mm-hmm. And he said, don't worry about it. I'll take her to school with my son in the mornings.
It's nothing like having your neighbors back. It's a wonderful thing.
And I mean, it wasn't even like we asked. It wasn't like we sought him out. He
just saw a need and said, I'm here to help.
Absolutely.
I love that.
No problem. So I'm talking to my mom and, obviously she's thrilled because this is what I've always wanted. And here we are 10 plus years later from college, you know?
Right.
And so she's ecstatic about it, actually.
Sure.
And she says, well, don't worry about the little one, because my baby son was 2 when I started law school, and he went to daycare, and she said, drop him off every morning on your way,
take him on.
and I'll take him.
Great when you have that village.
It
like
is.
You said your village is here.
Yes.
I heard you say that earlier.
Yeah. And then my husband, he worked out the bills, and he worked it out to where he was home to get the kids out of school, and he would help. And I would either crock pot something for dinner so the kids would have a home cooked meal, because family life is very important to me. That's probably one of my biggest values, honestly, is family. I would crock pot dinner, or my husband would make sure that the kids had dinner, and then he'd get home from work, everybody be there, or I would meet them on a football field because I didn't want to miss their games.
Right.
So, we made it work, and it was a lot of give and take, but I'm so thankful. I know that I could not have done this journey without him, honestly.
That's amazing. I wanted to spend some real time on that because your story is unique and it's inspiring, and I just love it. It's one of my favorite stories. Let's talk about getting out of law school and getting into the law and coming to practice law here in South Carolina. So you graduate from John Marshall.
Okay. Yep.
Took the bar in South Carolina, right?
I did.
Okay. Passed.
I did.
First time around.
I did.
Smart girl here. All right. Well, tell me about your first job. Your first job in the law.
So before I get to the first job, I got to tell you how I landed in this job. Okay. So when I was in law school, one of the things that I did, I knew that I needed to get some real world experience because I'd never worked in a law firm. I wasn't able to intern because my commute was my intern time. Okay. So I had to get creative. So what I did was over spring break, I went knocking on doors of law firms and saying, hey, I'm willing to work for free. I just want to be in the environment. I just want to learn. And believe it or not, good old Tommy Donaway was the first person to say, I knocked on his door and gave him my resume, and he said, no, you're not going to come work for me for free. I'm going to pay you. And I said, really?
Just like him.
And he was like, yes. And so that's how I ended up working there and learning about being a general practitioner, okay? Sure. And the different areas of law and the different parts of the brain that it required, okay?
Right.
So the following summer, I then end up working with Ben Stepp, attorney Ben Stepp. He's one of the federal PDs up in Greenville.
Right, yes.
And Ben's still a dear friend to me today. Love him. And so when I graduated from there, he told me, he said, hey, if you ever are looking for a job, give me a call.
Yeah, sure.
And he called Christopher Scalzo.
Yeah, Chris
and
Scalzo,
that's how I ended up at the Pickens County Public
PD.
Defender's Office. Yep.
Okay, so you wind up at the Public Defender's Office.
Yep.
What is a public defender, first of all, Rasheda?
Okay, so a public defender, essentially, they represent clients who don't have the financial means they can't afford their own private attorney.
And we're talking criminal court here.
That is correct.
So these people charged with a crime that are indigent or do not have the financial means to hire their own private lawyer.
That's correct.
Okay. This is always something I say about public defenders because I think that it's probably one of the more noble, thankless,
absolutely,
and difficult, but also righteous jobs in the law. I oftentimes say if Jesus were a lawyer, he'd be a public defender.
Absolutely.
I really just believe that
hands
in my heart, So tell me about I never did that. I prosecuted on a contract and then I had to just start my own law firm. What's being a public defender like?
So I loved it. I think for me, being a public defender really taught me that we're all humans. People aren't bad. People do bad things.
Right.
Okay. Every circumstance is different and they want to be seen as humans. And so I really learned how to be personable with my clients.
Sure.
And I learned to see them as people. Like I even still today, I have clients of mine from the public defender's office. They'll reach out to me looking for Rasheda Robinson.
Right.
But I love them. I learned about their families. I learned about who they were. I learned how to advocate for them, even though they've maybe done these heinous things, but they weren't bad people. They just did a bad thing.
And how long were you at the public defender's office?
About 2.5 years.
2.5 years. And then, of course, you came here.
I did.
The Pracht Injury Lawyers. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the transition from criminal defense law at a public defender's office to representing victims. So you're kind of on the different side of things. Obviously, you're moving from criminal to civil law, but you're also representing victims of recklessness, carelessness, as opposed to alleged criminals. Tell me about that transition. What was that like?
Honestly, it wasn't difficult. It was challenging, yes, but it wasn't like right and left.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
Because working in the PD's office, it teaches you there is a gray area. Okay.
Right.
And so when I transitioned over, I think the biggest struggle I had probably was the language. Because
Right.
I'm
the
used
vocabulary,
yes,
right? The terminology.
because it's so different.
It
like,
is.
over here it's plaintiff, defendant.
Right.
Over there it's state v. So
Somebody's
and so.
name, right.
Correct. So that was a different thought process that I really had to adjust to. But the PD's office, I think, was a great transition for me because I think it really helped me. If I can connect with these individuals who have allegedly committed a crime, there's no way that I can't connect with an individual who's been wronged or injured in a motor vehicle accident.
So let's talk about what we do for a living, right?
Yeah.
Representing people who've been harmed by whether it be corporate negligence or fighting insurance companies or whatever it is we do. What's your favorite part about that? What's the most rewarding part about representing people?
I think for me, it's really giving them a safe space to be themselves, answer their questions, and really being able to help them. I think that's probably my favorite thing. Like, I love to help people. I've always been that person. I'm a giver. Right. And so in this particular role, I get to be the giver. I get to be the giver of advice. I get to be the listening ear, the giver of resources. Right. And I also get to be the giver and save the day in terms of helping them settle their case. So
I think you're dead on with all of those things. What challenges do injury victims, if your son's hurt by a drunk driver, but what challenges do they face in the legal system in today's environment?
I think, in my personal opinion, what I deal with the most is what most people don't understand is when you are involved in a car accident, you only have access to, from a liability perspective, to the
Right.
policy limits of the at-fault driver.
Right.
In South Carolina, as you already know, you're only required to carry 2550
Sure.
to be considered legally insured.
Right.
And we all know you go to the hospital one time, there's your 25,000 there, okay?
I mean, even not even a bad injury. I mean, you go there and you say, my back hurts, and they say, oh, we need to do 3 scans on your back. It's like an $18,000 bill right there.
Correct. So if you have a client who is legitimately injured, I'm talking broken bones or
Right.
even death,
Yeah.
$25,000 is no way going to compensate them in
Drop
any
in the
capacity.
bucket. Yeah.
We're talking about maybe pinch your medical bills. We're not even talking about pain and suffering yet.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then most parties don't carry underinsured motorist coverage. And for those who don't know what that is, that's an elective coverage that you can actually choose to have. That way,
You pay extra for it.
Correct. You pay
Right.
an extra premium for it. But if the at-fault driver doesn't carry enough to cover you for all of your damages, then you can file a claim against your own insurance.
I always call it like, gap insurance. People kind of understand gap insurance, right? It's like you owe money on a car, you get in a wreck, and the at-fault driver's insurance won't pay off your car. Your gap insurance jumps in and
Correct.
fills the gap, right? And
Correct.
pays off. That's kind of like underinsured.
Yes.
If you've got more damages than the uninsured motorist that hits you, it comes in and tries to fill that gap. to some
Absolutely.
degree. I talk about this all the time. You're right. It's so right about the insurance limits because, of course, under our law, you can go get their personal assets, but that doesn't work in reality, does it? Like
It
in
doesn't.
most of the time.
And to be honest with you, let's be transparent. Most people don't have assets that you can collect on.
Right. I mean, particularly if they've got $25,000 in
Correct.
coverage, right?
Because the likelihood that if they have $25,000 in coverage, the likelihood that they actually own a $1 million home
is zilch.
very slim.
I mean, it's 1 in 10,000.
Most people that have umbrella policies or significant coverage on their vehicles, they have something to protect.
Right. And they should. I mean, that makes sense. When you start to develop assets, that's when you need to go meet with an insurance broker and say,
That is correct.
What do I need? I feel like in our profession, and I think some of this is on us as lawyers and personal injury lawyers, I think we haven't done a great job managing our brand as personal injury lawyers, right? There's this idea out there that people can get something for nothing in the injury world. Talk about that. I mean, do you see a lot of cases where people just get a bunch of money that when they're not hurt and it's just a bunch of crap?
Absolutely not. And the billboards, the TV commercials, the ads that you see online where so-and-so, I got a settlement for $1.2 million.
Right.
The likelihood that they got that, it probably was out of someone dying.
Yeah.
Some significant injury like they're paraplegic or something.
Right.
Like it has to be, the damages on something like that to recover something like that would have to be astronomical.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, I don't think I would want to deal with the consequences of just to get that $1.2 million settlement, if I'm being honest.
Absolutely. I say that all the time. I think you're exactly right. And that is, you see this billboard, you see somebody smiling and they got this huge smile on their face and it's like $2 million. And I just think that that's misleading.
It's extremely misleading.
Because the reality of that case, and I don't know what specific case that billboard's talking about, but we've handled a lot of cases.
Yes.
I mean, and we've handled a lot of $1 million cases. I think in almost every single one that I can think of as I sit here today, that client would take the $1 million or whatever the amount is. I don't care how much it was.
Yeah.
And would slide it right back across the table to us if they could have their loved one back, if
Yes.
they could be able to walk again, whatever their calamity is, their challenges that they've faced throughout this catastrophe. The money doesn't make them whole.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't.
It doesn't. And usually with the money, they can't do what they would have liked to have done with the money before the accident or whatever incident they were involved in. And I think for me, a lot of clients don't understand that, like, it's very disheartening, even as their attorney, someone who cares about them and sees them as a person and wants to help them. Like, I desire to help you and I can't because there isn't enough coverage there to help you and you don't have the UIM.
Isn't that the toughest conversation?
It is a very tough conversation. It's not a fun conversation, but I truly believe that if you value your clients and you care about your clients, you'll be honest with your clients. So,
and you need, and that's what we always talk about. That's like the first conversation you have. Is like, look, you've been in this wreck. We're starting to investigate, and of course, at that time, we don't know what the coverage is.
No, we don't.
And so we, thankfully, we can find out pretty quick. In some cases, in some commercial policies, we don't really know.
I was gonna say, because a lot of them won't even give us the deck page to even know what their coverage amount is. It's really tough. And I think for me, that's probably my biggest challenge.
What, so you're 4 years in now to
am.
being a personal injury lawyer and doing a great job. I mean, in 4 years, I want the audience to know this, Rasheda, you've settled hundreds and hundreds of motor vehicle accidents, probably dozens of premises liability cases. We're working on a 1983 civil rights case right now against the Spartanburg County Jail. You've done traumatic brain injury cases. I mean, we've just done a myriad of things, dog bites, everything in between. What do you see your career? How do you see it playing out? What do you want to do in the next 10, 15 years as a civil trial lawyer?
So I told you already, I've said this probably a dozen times already in this podcast. I am really big on helping people. And, one of the things that I pride myself on is being the voice for the voiceless. So I really see myself transitioning into like daycare abuse cases, nursing home abuse cases. So I'm really working towards learning about those areas of abuse because those are probably our most vulnerable sets of people. The babies can't talk and the old people can't fend for themselves.
And I'm so excited about doing that with you and like developing that part of your practice over the next few years. We're going to have a great time doing it. I think it's a wide open, and I think there's a lot of people that need help. I saw like a Wall Street Journal article recently about how the instances of abuse and neglect in senior living facilities and nursing homes is on the rise.
Absolutely.
As we see the corporatization of that industry, and private equity money and hedge fund money coming in there, and it's all about the dollar, right? So they're going to cut staffing, cut critical care for these folks, and we're going to have, your parents and my parents are that baby boomer generation, right? And they're all we're about to have more folks retired and in nursing homes than we've ever had before.
Absolutely.
So it's a real big issue. I think you're very wise to pick that as something that you want to.
And the baby boomers they were our workers in terms of the different generations. Like, they are your hard workers, believe in staying in one job. So, I'm expecting a rise in nursing home neglect cases over the next few years.
So one of the things that I think makes us at Pracht Injury Lawyers unique is that we're all about community, right? We're all about our home. And, whether it's our lawyers that are in Greenville, we're getting them into the Greenville community, and especially here in Anderson, where I was born and raised and where you were born and raised. So tell me what it means to you about practicing law in your hometown.
Honestly, it means everything to me. I tell people all the time, I'm just a small town girl with a big dream. For me, I want other girls especially to look at me and say, hey, she did it.
Right.
She maybe didn't do it when people expected her to do it, but she did it, and so can I. I'm very accessible in terms of who I am and who I'm able to help. I love being able to serve my community. I love being able to attend the local football games.
Right.
I love being able to give back in the areas that I actually attended school. Like I love being able to have a hand in those kids in the future generation. Like I'm from here. My family's from here. My kids are born and raised here. Yeah. So for me, it's everything. It's like a full circle moment almost.
I love the fact that here in Anderson, we're able to sponsor Westside, sponsor Jazz's softball team. For those of y'all that don't know, quick aside, Rasheda's daughter Jazz is probably going to be the best softball player in the United States of America as a high schooler. She's well on her way. She's amazing. And that's not like an exaggeration. Jazz is legit.
Yeah, she is. She's a good
kid. I'm just so excited to see you be a part of that. I always say, it makes us a better lawyer to be part of our community. Right?
It does.
I mean, because at the end of the day, if we have to go try a case, who are we talking to?
Our community.
Our community, right?
Absolutely.
So if you don't know the people in your community, how on earth can you get up on your feet and try to persuade them that your cause is righteous?
And honestly, there's a certain level of trust that's built between you and the clients. I know for me, a lot of my referrals come from people from Anderson simply because they know me or they know someone who knows me that sent them my way. And because of that trust factor and the presence in the community.
Well, and that's it, right? I mean, like, look, we can't spend as much money at this law firm on advertising as Morgan & Morgan or George Sink, right? But we have something that they can't replicate, unfortunately for them. And that's these community roots and really being even though we've grown, but keeping our roots strong in our hometown and being a part of this community that's just an advantage we have over the big boys.
I agree.
We'll always have.
And honestly, there's just something very special about being able to help people that you have some sort of tie to, or that knows you, or knows where you've been and how far you've come.
So you said something that I think is really important, and I want you to kind of ask you this question. What message would you give to young lawyers, maybe particularly young female lawyers that are out there and considering the law? Maybe they haven't, maybe not like you, they don't know yet that that's what they want to do, but they're looking at it and they're saying, I'm considering it. What would you tell them?
I think for me, I would tell future lawyers or those interested in pursuing a career in law is chase your dream. You have one life, chase it until you can't chase it anymore. I
love that. I want to close and kind of always like to kind of close on a lighter note, Rasheda, and talk about what's going on out there today. What do you see? There's so much wild stuff out there. What big court case on a national level have you been following that you've seen here recently? And it doesn't have to be one that's going on right now, but in the last 6 months or year.
Okay, so the most recent case that I was like all up in arms about was the quadruple homicide that occurred over in Pendleton.
My former client.
Yes.
Yes.
So I was able to take a few of the girls over so that we could watch the trial because I think that there's something so special about being part of the support staff and actually getting to see what you do, sitting in there and getting to put the puzzle pieces together. Like, I mean, this happened like in 2015, I think.
Oh, yeah. And just to kind of give everybody a little background on this is the quadruple homicide in Pendleton. Ross and Amy Velarde, a couple, were both charged in that murder. And I had represented them on a civil matter years prior. Okay. So they were former clients of ours. But again, talk about the criminal case and tell me what that experience was like for you watching that major murder trial.
And not only that, but like seeing something that has had documentaries. Like, I mean, there have been TV shows created about this particular trial, and it happened so long ago, and they didn't arrest them and charge them till maybe 8 years later.
Right.
So it was very interesting because I was trying to put the puzzle pieces together. As a lawyer, that's kind of what you do. You go on the hunch to figure out what's the holes, what's this new evidence.
Right.
So to be in there and actually get to witness not only like them pulling the jury and how they selected those jury members, but also to see like what their opening statements were. What were their theories?
Right.
Like that, it was so interesting. It really was.
There's really nothing better than just getting in a courtroom.
Absolutely.
And just, watching other people do it or going in there and trying a tough case yourself just for the experience, even if you think it's long odds, as long as it's in the client's best interest. So that's exciting. And I know I've been following that case too. Rasheda, thank you for joining us today. This has been a great conversation. I love you. You were my first really full-time hire that had no personal injury experience, right? That came in and every bit of civil law you've done at Pracht Injury Lawyers, and you do a great job. And I'm honored to work with you, and it's my dream to work with you for the rest of your career. So we're going to make that happen.
I like it.
Folks, thank you for joining us for episode 8 of Prachtical Law. Today we met with the outstanding attorney, Rasheda Robinson, who works at Pracht Injury Lawyers, learned about her motivations for becoming a lawyer, her strong belief in community roots and serving her clients. It's awesome to have Rasheda on here. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. We certainly hope that you will like and subscribe to the podcast if you found value in it. We don't run any ads. We try to just provide things of value for legal professionals in the community at large. Please watch us and keep in touch with us on 864law.com and all our YouTube channels. And look out for episode 9 of Prachtical Law Podcast, which will be coming at you next month.